The day my father died, the house did not feel like a home anymore. It felt like a battlefield dressed in black. People kept saying the same words. He lived a good life. He is in a better place. Stay strong. But none of it reached me. My ears heard it, but my chest only heard the sound of dirt hitting the coffin, one heavy slap after another, like the world was sealing something shut that I was not ready to lose. My father, Michael Carter, was not a perfect man. He was strict, proud, and sometimes cold. But he was mine. And even though we fought during the last few years, I still believed we would have time to fix what was broken. Instead, I got a funeral. And I got her. My stepmom, Vanessa Carter, stood near the family line dressed like grief itself. Black dress, black gloves, black sunglasses. She did not cry in public. She did not need to. She had something far more powerful than tears. Control. Vanessa had married my dad when I was 17. She came into our lives like perfume, sweet at first, then suffocating. She knew how to smile with her mouth while her eyes stayed cold. She knew how to speak softly while pushing knives into people's ribs. And today she looked like a woman who had already won. As the last guests left a cemetery, she approached me with a slow, gentle step. "Daniel," she said softly, "you need to come back to the house. There are documents to handle." I stared at her. "I will come when I am ready." Vanessa tilted her head like she was pitying me. "You do not have the luxury of time," she said. "Your father left responsibilities." That sentence hit wrong. My father left responsibilities for me? Or for her? I did not answer. I walked away to breathe, to think, to remember my father without her voice in my ear. But when I returned to the house later that night, the energy inside was different. The lights were on in the study, voices were low, and I smelled smoke. Not cigarette smoke, paper smoke. I followed the scent, my heart tightening with each step. When I reached the study, the fireplace was lit. Flames danced like hungry mouths, and Vanessa stood there holding a folder. I recognized it instantly. My father's will. The official document was thick and sealed with a legal stamp. My father had told me months ago he finally wrote one. He said it was time to organize things. I did not ask details because I didn't want to imagine his death. But now it was here, in her hands. I froze. "Vanessa!" She looked over her shoulder slowly like she expected me. "Oh," she said, "you are home." My heartbeat slammed. "What are you doing?" Vanessa held up the folder as if it was nothing. "Cleaning," she replied calmly. "Your father's mess." My throat went dry. "That is his will." Vanessa sighed like I was a child. "No," she corrected, walking closer to the fire. "That was his will." Then she opened the folder and tossed pages into the flames. I rushed forward, but she raised one hand. "Do not," she said sharply. The first page curled as fire swallowed the ink. The second page followed. The signature line burned like it was screaming. My hand shook. "Why would you do that?" I whispered. Vanessa stared at the fire like it was beautiful. "Because it is useless now. Without the original, no one can prove anything." Then she looked at me with a small smile. "And without proof, the house becomes mine." My body went cold. That was the moment I understood. Vanessa was not grieving my father. She was erasing him. And if she could erase his will, she could erase me too. But as she turned away satisfied, she did not notice what I did. I glanced at the bookshelf beside the desk, and inside a small hidden drawer, I saw it. A sealed envelope labeled in my father's handwriting. "Copy, for Daniel only." My pulse jumped. Vanessa thought she'd destroyed the truth. She had no idea. I already had it. I did not move. Not because I was scared, though I was, but because Vanessa was still in the room, and I needed her to believe she had control. My father used to say the most dangerous enemy is the one who feels cornered, and Vanessa was not cornered yet.
She still thought she had won. She walked away from the fireplace as the last page of the will turned into ash. She dusted her hands like she had thrown away garbage, not my father's final words. Then she sat behind my father's desk, crossing her legs slowly like she belonged there. "You look shocked," she said, studying me, "like you did not know how life works." My jaw clenched. "You committed a crime." Vanessa laughed softly. "A crime," she repeated, amused. "Daniel, the law is not a sword, it is a tool, and tools belong to people who know how to use them." I stared at her. I wanted to scream, to grab the fireplace poker and smash the smug look off her face, but anger would give her what she wanted, an excuse to paint me as unstable. So I stayed calm. "Your father wanted things a certain way," she continued, "and sadly he is not here to enforce it." My nails dug into my palm. She leaned forward slightly. "I have already contacted the family attorney," she said. "We will handle the estate paperwork tomorrow." I forced myself to speak carefully. "What attorney?" I asked. Vanessa's eyes narrowed just a little. "Mr. Holloway," she said. My stomach turned. Holloway was my dad's old friend from the country club, the kind of lawyer who played golf with rich men and called it work. A man like that did not defend justice, he defended whoever paid him. Vanessa stood up, walking toward me slowly. "Here is what is going to happen," she said softly. "You will sign the estate transfer documents, you will pack your things, and you will be grateful I do not make it ugly." I stared at her. "What if I do not?" I asked. Vanessa smiled. "Then you will learn what ugly really is," she whispered. She brushed past me, leaving behind her perfume and her threat. When her footsteps disappeared down the hall, I finally moved. I went straight to the bookcase. My hands trembled as I reached into the hidden drawer. Inside was the sealed envelope. My father's handwriting hit my chest like a punch. The envelope was thick, untouched. Copy, for Daniel only. I held it like it was sacred. Then I opened it. Inside was a full copy of the will, stamped, signed, and notarized. Attached was a short handwritten note. "Daniel, if you ever read this, it means I failed to protect you while I was alive. Vanessa will try to take everything. Do not argue, do not shout. Go to my lawyer, Claire Morgan. She has the original backup in the fireproof evidence, and remember, truth does not burn." My throat tightened. My father knew. He knew exactly what Vanessa would do, and he prepared for it. I sat down on the floor, back against the bookcase, and tried to breathe. My emotions were a storm: grief, rage, disbelief, but underneath all of it was something else. A plan. Vanessa thought she destroyed the will, but my father gave me a weapon. I looked at the signature on the copy. It was not ink. It was my father's final protection. I stood up and wiped my face. Crying would not save me. Rage would not save me. Strategy would. I took photos of every page with my phone. Then I emailed the images to myself, then to a secure backup account. Then I put the copy back in the envelope and hid it deeper, behind the bookcase panel where no one would casually look. Then I walked quietly to my room and locked the door. The house felt different now. It was not a home, it was enemy territory. And Vanessa was already moving. I could hear her on the phone downstairs, voice sweet, acting like the innocent widow. "Yes, Holloway," she said. "We will do it first thing. I want everything settled quickly." She wasn't just stealing the house, she was racing against time, because she didn't know the truth had survived, and tomorrow I would meet the lawyer my father trusted, Claire Morgan, and turn Vanessa's fake victory into a public downfall. I left the house before sunrise. Vanessa was still asleep, or pretending to be. Either way, I did not care. I drove with my father's note in my pocket and a strange, cold focus in my chest. Grief was still there, heavy like wet cement, but now it had edges. Now it had direction. Claire Morgan's law office was across town, in a quiet building that looked too normal for the kind of secrets it probably held. When I stepped inside, the receptionist did not smile the way bank tellers or salespeople do. She looked at me like she had been warned. "You are Daniel Carter," she said. "Yes," I answered, surprised. She nodded and picked up the phone. "He is here," she said softly. Minutes later, Claire Morgan appeared. She was in her late 30s, sharp eyes, calm posture. She did not look like a woman who feared wealthy widows or crooked lawyers. She looked like she ate men like Holloway for breakfast. "Daniel," she said, shaking my hand, "I am sorry about your father." I swallowed. "He told me to come to you," I said. Claire nodded once. "I know," she replied. "He prepared for this." I followed her into a private office. The door closed. The air felt heavier, safer. Claire sat and opened a file folder already prepared. "Your father contacted me 6 months ago," she said. "He was worried Vanessa would do something if he died suddenly." My stomach twisted. "He knew," I whispered. Claire nodded. "He did not just know," she said. "He documented everything." Then she looked me in the eye. "Daniel, your stepmother has already filed an emergency petition to claim the entire estate." My blood went cold. "Already?" I asked. "She is moving fast," Claire replied. "Probably with Holloway." I clenched my jaw. "She burned the original will last night," I said quietly. Claire's expression did not change, but her eyes sharpened. "Of course she did," she said, like it was predictable. I reached into my bag and pulled out the envelope copy. "But she did not burn this," I said. Claire took it carefully, flipping through the pages, scanning the stamps and signatures. Then she nodded slowly. "This is good, very good." She slid it back to me. "Now we make her regret touching fire." I exhaled shakily. "What do we do?" I asked. Claire leaned forward. "First, we file the copy with the court immediately," she said. "Second, we request a temporary restraining order preventing Vanessa from selling or transferring assets. Third," she added, voice cold, "we prepare for her counterattack." I blinked. "Counterattack?" I asked. Claire's lips tightened. "Vanessa will claim you forged the copy. She will paint you as unstable, grieving, desperate. She may even accuse you of violence." She paused. "And Holloway will help her." My stomach dropped. Vanessa was capable of anything. She did not just want the house. She wanted to erase me. Claire opened a drawer and pulled out another file. "This," she said, "is what your father gave me." She slid it across the desk. Inside were photographs, emails, a bank statement. I stared at the bank statement. A monthly transfer from my father's account to Vanessa. Not just normal household money, large amounts. And the note on the transfer said, "Do not let Daniel know." My blood turned to ice. "What is this?" I whispered. Claire's voice turned low. "Your father was paying her off," she said. "He did not trust her. He was trying to control her. But something changed recently. He stopped the payments 2 weeks before he died." My throat tightened. "So Vanessa killed him," I whispered. Claire did not say yes, but she did not say no. Instead, she said, "We do not accuse without proof." Then she tapped the file. "But your father suspected she might harm him." I felt nauseous. My father did not just die, he might have been removed, and Vanessa was not just stealing property, she might be covering a crime. Claire stood up. "We are going to court today, and Daniel," she looked at me carefully, "do not go back to that house alone tonight." I swallowed hard. "Why?" I asked. Claire's eyes were cold. "Because when Vanessa realizes the will survived, she will not just fight with lawyers, she will fight like a criminal." By noon, the courthouse looked like a machine. Cold walls, long hallways, people moving like they were carrying invisible burdens. Claire walked beside me with calm confidence, while I felt like my chest was cracking open every few steps. Vanessa arrived 20 minutes late on purpose. She walked into the courtroom dressed in black, like grief was her personal brand. Her eyes were red, maybe from crying, maybe from eye drops, and beside her was Holloway, smiling like he already knew the judge. When Vanessa saw me sitting with Claire Morgan, her face froze for a heartbeat. Then she smiled. That smile made my skin crawl. Claire leaned toward me and whispered, "Do not react." The hearing began. Vanessa spoke first. "Your Honor," she said softly, "my husband is gone." She dabbed her eyes delicately. "And now his son is trying to take advantage of my grief." I clenched my jaw. Holloway stood beside her and added, "Daniel Carter has no original will, only a photocopy he claims to have found." He shook his head dramatically. "We believe it is fraudulent." The judge looked at me. "Mr. Carter," he said, "do you have evidence?" Claire stood calmly. "Yes," she said, "we do." Then she handed the clerk the certified copy. Holloway's smile faltered. Vanessa's eyes widened slightly, but she recovered quickly. Claire continued. "The will was notarized and signed. Additionally, the deceased, Mr. Michael Carter, provided instructions to my office regarding this exact scenario." The judge's brows lowered. "What scenario?" he asked. Claire did not blink. "A potential attempt to destroy the will." The courtroom went silent for a moment. Vanessa laughed softly. "That is absurd," she said. "How could anyone destroy—" Claire cut her off. "Your Honor, we request the court immediately freeze the estate assets and issue a protective order preventing Vanessa Carter from transferring property until the will's validity is confirmed." Holloway stepped forward, voice sharp. "This is harassment," he argued. "My client is a grieving widow." Claire looked at him like he was dirt. "A grieving widow does not file emergency asset transfers within 24 hours, she said. Vanessa's lips tightened. "How dare you?" she whispered. The judge looked at Holloway. "Did your client file emergency transfers?" he asked. Holloway hesitated. That hesitation was enough. The judge's tone turned firm. "The court will issue a temporary freeze," he said. "No sales, no transfers, no withdrawals beyond normal living expenses until further hearing." Vanessa's face lost color. She turned and stared at me, not like a stepmother, like an enemy. The hearing ended. As we left the courtroom, Vanessa stepped close enough that only I could hear her. "You think you won," she whispered, voice shaking with controlled rage. "You have no idea what I am capable of." Claire pulled me away before I could respond. Outside, Claire's phone buzzed. She answered, listened, then her face hardened. She hung up and looked at me. "Daniel," she said softly, "your stepmother just tried to empty your father's private account." She paused. "And she also requested the death certificate amendment." My stomach twisted. "Why would she do that?" I asked. Claire's voice dropped. "Because if she changes the cause of death," she said, "she can erase any evidence." That was the moment I understood. This was only about inheritance. Vanessa was not stealing money. She was erasing evidence. We did not go back to the house. Claire insisted we meet in a private conference room at her office, away from Vanessa's eyes. The moment we sat down, Claire pulled out another folder, thicker, more disturbing. "Your father did not trust Vanessa," Claire said. "Not for years. He prepared evidence." I swallowed. "Evidence of what?" I asked. Claire opened the folder and slid out copies of emails between my father and a private investigator. The investigator's notes were short but sharp. Vanessa Carter, suspicious meetings, cash payments, unknown male contact, possible affair, medication changes requested. My throat tightened. "Medication?" I whispered. Claire nodded. Your father had a heart condition, she reminded me. His medication was specific. He told me Vanessa pressured him to switch pharmacies. My stomach turned. Vanessa was not just greedy. She might have been lethal. Claire slid out a bank statement. Large cash withdrawals, consistent, patterned. She has been extracting money quietly, Claire said, and now she wants everything in one sweep. She leaned closer. And Daniel, if she destroyed the will, she may also destroy anything else that can expose her. My hands shook. So what do we do? I asked. Claire's eyes hardened. We strike first, she said. We force her into a corner where she makes mistakes. That night, Claire arranged for a legal security officer to accompany me back to the house. When we entered, the air felt toxic, like the walls held lies. Vanessa was in the living room. She stood slowly, eyes calm, too calm. Daniel, she said, voice sweet, you brought strangers. Claire spoke first. This is legal security for Daniel's protection. Vanessa smiled faintly. Protection from me? She asked. Then she stepped closer. Or protection from what Daniel might do. I froze. Claire's eyes narrowed. Careful, she warned. Vanessa's gaze locked on me. I saw you in court, she whispered, looking at me like I am a monster. But Daniel, she leaned in, you do not know what your father really was. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? I asked. Vanessa smiled like she held a secret. He was not the hero you worship, she said. He hid things. He lied. He ruined lives to protect you. Claire stepped between us. Stop, she said sharply. Vanessa backed away, raising her hands innocently. Fine, she said, but if Daniel keeps digging, she paused, he will learn the truth. I stared at her. Vanessa was not threatening my inheritance anymore. She was threatening my identity. Upstairs in my father's study, I searched quietly for anything else Vanessa might have missed. Behind a stack of old books, I found a small locked drawer. Claire's security officer stood watch outside. I picked the lock with a paperclip like my father taught me years ago. Inside was a small sealed package, a USB drive, and a handwritten note. Vanessa must never find this. My heart hammered. I grabbed it and slipped it into my pocket. Then, downstairs, I heard glass shatter. A scream. I rushed out, heart racing. Vanessa stood in the kitchen holding a broken picture frame, eyes wide. "Oh my God!" she cried. "Daniel attacked me!" I froze. Claire's security officer stepped forward. "Ma'am, what happened?" he asked. Vanessa pointed at me, tears falling. "He came at me. He's unstable. He needs help." My blood turned to ice. This was the counterattack. Vanessa was trying to destroy me, publicly, legally, before I could expose her. And she was about to turn my father's death into my downfall. The police arrived fast. Too fast. That alone told me Vanessa planned this. She did not scream and call 911 after the frame broke. She screamed because 911 was already on the way. 2 officers entered the house, their posture stiff, cautious. Vanessa sat on a chair, crying softly, pressing a towel to her hand where glass had cut her skin. It was not a serious injury, but it was enough to create a picture. Poor widow, violent stepson. Claire stood beside me, calm. "This is a setup," she said quietly. Vanessa looked up and sobbed harder. "He has been angry since the funeral," she said. "He blames me for everything." Then she pointed at me. "He threatened me in the kitchen. I'm scared." The officers looked at me. "Sir," one asked, "did you threaten her?" I opened my mouth, but Claire cut in. "No," she said, "and we have a witness." She gestured to the security officer. "He was present. Daniel never attacked her." Vanessa's eyes narrowed, hatred flashing beneath the tears. "He is lying," she said. Claire did not react. She turned to the officers. "Also," she added calmly, "Vanessa Carter destroyed a legal will last night." She paused. and we are requesting a formal report." The officers froze. "That is a serious allegation," one said. "It is true," Claire replied, "and Daniel's father warned about it in advance." Vanessa stood abruptly. "You cannot prove anything," she hissed, then she covered it with another sob. "I am the victim here." The officers exchanged looks, unsure. That was when Claire made her move. She pulled out her phone and played an audio clip. My father's voice filled the room, steady, cautious. "If anything happens to me and Vanessa controls the documents, do not believe her. She will try to destroy the will. She will try to blame Daniel. Protect him." Silence swallowed the kitchen. Vanessa's tears stopped. Her face drained. One officer frowned. "Where do you get this recording?" he asked. Claire answered calmly. "From my father's private backup," she said. "He gave it to my office with instructions." Vanessa's lips trembled. The officers shifted. Now the story was not a grieving widow, it was a planned trap. Vanessa tried to recover. "That recording is fake," she snapped. Claire smiled faintly. "Then we will send it for verification," she said. "And we will subpoena your phone records, and your financial withdrawals, and your pharmacy requests." Vanessa froze. That night, after the officers filed their report, Vanessa stood in the hallway as I packed a small bag. Claire insisted I stay elsewhere for safety. Vanessa watched, like a snake watching a rabbit escape. "You think you're clever," she whispered, "but I have people, Daniel. I have secrets, and if I go down," she leaned closer, "I'm taking you with me." My stomach turned. She was not bluffing. In Claire's car, I opened the sealed package I had found upstairs. Inside was a second USB drive and a note from my father. "Daniel, if Vanessa burns the will, she will accuse you next. This drive contains what she fears most. Play it only in court." My hands trembled. What could be worse than losing the house? What did Vanessa fear more than inheritance? Claire glanced at me. "Whatever is on that drive," she said softly, "is the reason your father prepared for war." And I realized the truth. This was not just about the will. It was about why my father married Vanessa, and what she was hiding from the beginning. 2 days later, the second hearing began. Vanessa arrived with a new lawyer, no longer Holloway. This one looked younger, sharper, hungry, a man who cared less about truth and more about winning. Vanessa's eyes were calmer now, too calm, like she believed she still had one last card. Claire sat beside me, her folder thick with evidence. "You ready?" she asked quietly. I nodded, though my stomach felt like it was filled with rocks. The judge began by reviewing the temporary freeze and the will copy. Vanessa's lawyer stood and argued that the will copy could be forged. "My client saw the original destroyed accidentally," he said. "Accidentally?" Claire repeated sharply. She stood. "Your Honor, we have a certified copy and multiple backups. We also have recording evidence of the deceased predicting this exact behavior." Vanessa's lawyer tried to object, but Claire continued. "This is not confusion. It is fraud." Vanessa's face tightened. Then Vanessa stood herself. "Your Honor," she said softly, "I loved my husband. I would never hurt him. Daniel is grieving and unstable. He hates me." Her voice trembled just enough to sound real. It was performance. The judge looked at me. "Mr. Carter," he said, "do you have anything to add?" Claire leaned toward me. "Now," she whispered. I stood slowly. "Yes," I said, voice steady. "My stepmother burned my father's will, but she did not know my father kept a copy, and she did not know he kept something else." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. Fear flashed briefly. Claire placed the second USB drive on the evidence table. Vanessa's lawyer frowned. "What is that?" he demanded. Claire answered calmly. "A recording evidence." The judge signaled for it to be played. A large monitor turned on. My father appeared on screen. He looked tired, older than I remembered. His eyes were not cold or angry. They were apologetic. "Daniel," my father said softly, "if you are watching this, I am gone. And Vanessa tried to burn the will. That means my plan worked." Vanessa's face went white. The video continued. "I married Vanessa because she had something on me. She threatened to expose a crime connected to your mother's death." My breath caught. The courtroom froze. Vanessa stood suddenly, shaking her head. "No," she whispered. My father's voice stayed calm. "Vanessa worked with men who poisoned your mother. She did not do it with her hands, but she arranged it. She paid for it, because your mother was about to expose them." Vanessa's lawyer shouted objections. The judge overruled. Vanessa's hands trembled. Her performance cracked. My father continued, voice breaking slightly. "I tried to protect you, Daniel. I tried to keep the truth buried to keep you safe. But Vanessa became greedy. She wanted more. So I recorded everything." Vanessa screamed. "This is fake," she shouted. "That man is dead. He is lying." But her voice sounded like panic, not truth. Claire stood beside me and spoke clearly. "Your Honor, we request an immediate criminal investigation," she said. "This evidence suggests fraud, conspiracy, and potentially homicide." The judge's face hardened. He looked at Vanessa like she was no longer a winnow. She was a suspect. Vanessa's lawyer tried to pull her back into her seat, but Vanessa's eyes were wild now. She turned and stared at me with hatred so deep it looked like madness. "You little," she whispered, "you ruined me." I did not flinch. I looked back and spoke softly, just loud enough. "No," I said, "you ruined yourself." And in that moment, I saw it. Vanessa was no longer fighting for inheritance. She was fighting for survival.
The court ordered an investigation immediately. It did not mean Vanessa was arrested on the spot, but it meant something far more dangerous to her. She lost control of the story. Outside the courtroom, cameras appeared. Reporters pushed microphones forward. Vanessa tried to hide behind her lawyer, but her face was already public. "Vanessa Carter, did you destroy the will? Did you steal the estate? Were you involved in the mother's death?" Vanessa did not answer. She just moved fast toward her car, jaw clenched, eyes burning. Claire pulled me aside. "This is the most dangerous moment," she warned. "When people like Vanessa realize they are exposed." She paused. "They stop pretending." That night, I stayed in a safe hotel Claire arranged. 2 rooms, one for me, one for security. I could not sleep. My father's confession played in my mind like poison. He married Vanessa because she had blackmail. Vanessa was connected to my mother's death. My life was not just sad, it was manipulated. At 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "Stop digging or you will join your mother." My blood turned cold. Another message came instantly. "You think Vanessa is the villain. She is just the wallet. The real men are watching." I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. So Vanessa was not alone. She was part of something bigger. The next morning, Claire arrived with 2 detectives. One of them introduced himself as Detective Owen Park. "We would like to ask you questions about your father," Park said, "and about Vanessa." I nodded, numb. Park showed me bank records. Vanessa had been paying cash to a private account for years. The account belonged to a man named Conrad Sills. "Who is that?" I asked. Claire's face tightened. "Your father mentioned him in the investigator notes," she said. "He is connected to the group involved in your mother's poisoning." My stomach twisted.
So my mother was not just killed by one person, she was killed by a network. That afternoon, detectives searched the house. Vanessa's lawyer tried to stop them. The court order ignored him. When they entered the study, they found something Vanessa missed, a hidden safe behind the fireplace. Inside were pills, prescription bottles, and a small notebook, Vanessa's handwriting. Detective Park read out loud, dosage adjustments, schedule, doctor contact, insurance override. My throat tightened. Vanessa was not grieving, she was managing. She managed my father's meds, she managed his weakness, and the night he died, she managed his death. Park closed the notebook slowly. This, he said, is intent. Vanessa became a suspect officially, but suspects do not go quietly. At sunset, security received an alert. Someone tried to access the hotel system, asking for my room number. Claire's face went cold. "They're coming," she said. I swallowed. "Vanessa?" I asked. Claire shook her head. "No," she said. "The men behind her." And suddenly, I understood. Burning the will was just the beginning. They were not trying to steal my inheritance anymore. They were trying to erase the last witness. Me.
That night, the hotel turned into a trap. Security moved me to a different floor quietly, using service elevators. Claire stayed with me, calm but alert. Detective Park promised patrol units outside. But deep down, I knew something. Men who threaten you at 2 a.m. do not fear police lights. At 11:40 p.m., the power flickered. My heart slammed. Claire stood instantly. "Back up," she whispered. The hallway lights blinked again, then stabilized, but the silence afterwards felt wrong, too heavy. A soft knock came at the door. Security froze. "Who is it?" the guard called. No answer. Another knock, slower. Then the door handle moved slightly. The guard reached for his weapon. Claire whispered to me, "Bathroom, now!" I moved quickly, locking myself inside. My hands shook as I grabbed my phone. No signal. The hotel system was jammed. Then a loud crash. The door splintered. I heard shouting, a scuffle, a grunt of pain. My chest tightened. The bathroom doorknob rattled. Something hit it hard. I held my breath, heart pounding. Then I heard Claire's voice, sharp and furious. "Police!" she shouted. "This is a felony! You are on camera!" A male voice laughed. "You think cameras stop us?" he said. The bathroom door burst open. A man in black stepped in, face covered by a mask. He raised a gun. I froze. Then the man hesitated. His eyes flicked toward my face, like he recognized me, like he knew me from somewhere else. Before he could fire, the guard tackled him. The gun went off. The bullet shattered the mirror. I lunged for the sink and grabbed a heavy metal pipe from the broken plumbing. The attacker shoved the guard away and turned back toward me. I swung. The pipe hit his wrist. The gun fell. The attacker cursed. He reached into his jacket. Knife. Claire burst into the bathroom, grabbing the attacker from behind. "Daniel!" she shouted. I swung again, harder. The attacker staggered, then kicked Claire backward. She hit the wall, gasping. My blood burned. The attacker rushed me. We crashed into the shower curtain, slipping. I slammed him into the sink. He grunted and tried to stab. I grabbed his wrist with both hands. The blade trembled inches from my throat. His strength was terrifying. Then, outside the room, sirens wailed. The attacker's eyes widened. He tried to pull away. I used that moment. I headbutted him. He screamed, stumbling back. Then he ran, jumping through the broken hotel window like an animal escaping a cage. The room filled with shouting as police stormed in. Detective Park arrived moments later, face tight. "You okay?" he demanded. I nodded, breathing hard. Claire's lip was bleeding. She wiped it with shaking fingers, eyes full of rage. Park looked at the shattered window. "They knew exactly where you were," he said. "This was not random. This was a clean hit." My stomach twisted. "Who sent him?" I asked. Park's jaw tightened. "We will find out," he said. But I already knew.
Vanessa did not have the courage for this. The men behind her did. And now they had made their biggest mistake. They attacked me in public. They left evidence. They left witnesses. The next day, investigators traced fingerprints on the weapon dropped in the room. The attacker was identified. Conrad Sills, the name from the bank records, the same man linked to my mother's poisoning. Claire stared at the photo. "Your father tried to bury this," she whispered, "but they cannot bury it anymore." I stared back at Conrad's face, cold, empty, a professional criminal. And suddenly, I realized the will was not the only thing Vanessa burned. She tried to burn the truth, but truth does not burn. Truth fights back.
Conrad Sills was arrested 3 days later. Not at his home, not at a workplace, but at a private airstrip preparing to leave the state. Police surrounded him with weapons drawn. Conrad tried to smile. Then he tried to negotiate. Then he realized his power was gone. He was cuffed, dragged, and photographed. Vanessa watched the news and broke. Detectives arrived at the house with an arrest warrant. She screamed, she cried, she claimed she was innocent. But innocence does not write medication schedules. Innocence does not burn wills, and innocence does not pay men like Conrad. Vanessa was charged with fraud, obstruction, and conspiracy. More charges followed. During interrogation, she tried to bargain. She offered names. She offered secrets. She offered my father. And finally, she confessed something that destroyed the last piece of my denial. "Yes," she whispered, "I helped. I did not kill your mother with my hands, but I made sure it happened." She started crying. "I did it because she was going to ruin everything. She thought she could expose powerful men. She thought she could protect you." My stomach turned. My mother died trying to protect me. Weeks later, court ended the inheritance fight. The will copy was accepted. The property was mine. Vanessa lost everything. Her accounts, her reputation, her freedom. But the real victory was not the house. It was the truth. On the day Vanessa was sentenced, I visited my father's grave. I stood there for a long time, wind cold on my face. "You failed me," I whispered. "You chose fear over truth, and you married a monster to hide your guilt." I did not cry. I did not need to, because karma had already spoken. Vanessa thought she could burn my father's will to erase his final words. She thought she could steal my inheritance and destroy my identity, but she did not know I had a copy, and she did not know my father left one last confession. In the end, Vanessa did not lose because I was stronger. She lost because she underestimated something simple. Truth does not stay buried forever, and fire cannot destroy what was meant to be revealed.